you for inviting me to be here, and congratulations to the graduating group. So tonight's about you, and I understand this is a big day, it's a big achievement. I heard that some of you are in the program anywhere from 18 to 30 months, and that it's a rigorous program that you have to go through. So I'd like to share a little bit of my story, and maybe there's some relevance to what you've been through and where you're at. I started the same way every time. I say that I was raised by two terrific parents who taught me right from wrong. And after I graduated, I opened my own company, and I thought myself to be successful for about 15 years. And then I got involved with the wrong people, and I made some really horrible choices and bad decisions. And for that, I was prosecuted and convicted of investment fraud and sentenced to 190 months in federal prison. And that's the way they sent you on the federal side. I'm not so sure of the state side, but you have to do a math equation to figure it out. That's 15 years, 10 months. I ended up serving 13 years. I went away July of 2005. I returned to the halfway house in Chicago in July of 2017 and actually finished my sentence May 1st of 2018. So I thought what I would do is just share a couple of lessons I learned. I learned that one of the things is that it's not about falling down, it's about getting back up. And what I've done with my career is not really what I was designed to do or what I set out to do, but we have an organization called Second Opportunity. And if you would have asked me all those nights I sat on my bunk what I thought I would do with my life when I got out, I would have never said that I'll spend my time going back inside jails and prisons, working in halfway houses and substance abuse treatment centers to bring courses having to do with employment readiness and financial literacy and life skills and basic re-entry, get past the barriers. So I'm from Chicago. I started this in early 2018, and I moved down to Atlanta about a little over a year ago. And we started this year with this little program that while I was the clerk in the federal RDAP program, the drug program, I started to create courses for re-entry. And we started this year in the state of Illinois, and it's December, and we're now in 12 different states. And it's not because of anything other than the fact that it's, I think, information that people are seeking, that want to release from prison or from whatever they're dealing with and move on with their lives and put it behind them. I think that there's a lot of components. I think re-entry from whatever circumstance is like a jigsaw puzzle. And some people have a puzzle with, fortunately, just a few pieces to put in place, and others have a puzzle with many pieces. And many pieces certainly has to do with dealing with their addictions, dealing with the lack of stable employment, stable housing, different opportunities, and those type of things. So I think that as we do this and try to help people to get on with their lives, there's no doubt that employment is a key factor. We do support services upon release to help people find employment and housing and substance abuse treatment and mental health services, but employment certainly is an important piece. But I also think and understand that it's not just about getting a job. There's a lot of other things that we have to deal with. And on the employment side, what I've learned is that the louder your skill set is, the quieter your background is. And I'd like to tell a quick story if I could. So when this started, I was actually invited to speak with the Cook County Sheriff's Department. That's Chicago. At the time, they had 9,600 people in the jail. And I just walked in, I was 3 months out. I walked behind double razor wire and the hair on my neck stood up, and I sat down in a room filled with guns and badges to talk about the program that we had been using, or I'd been using on the inside, what have you. So they told me I had to go in to get my badge, my ID card, to be able to come in there. And so I showed up, I filled out all the paperwork, and they sent me to this address, and I showed up. And there's a guy sitting behind the desk, and I walked in, and I told him I'm here to get my picture taken, get an ID, and I'm supposed to start a program teaching next week. And so he said, I don't have your name in the computer. I don't know what to tell you, come back after the holiday. And so I told him that they really expected me to start on Tuesday, the day right after the holiday. So he had me fill out the packet I'd already filled out, and the first question is, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And so I, of course, answered it again. I already knew where this was going. So I walked back up and handed the packet into him, and about, I don't know, a minute later, he calls me over and he said, so you're telling me you just got out of prison in July? And I said, yeah. And he said, and you're living in a halfway house right now? And I said, yeah. He said, there's no way you're getting here. The rule is that you've got to be out for 10 years before we let you back inside. So I don't know what to tell you, but they told me I'm starting on Tuesday. So I don't know who told you that, but there's nothing I can do for you. And he said, let me call over there and see. And so once I finally took responsibility for my actions and acknowledged the mistakes that I made and my conduct and my greed and my selfishness, unfortunately, that didn't resolve anything. It put me in a different place, and it put me in a place where I was angry with myself. And I used to think when I was locked up that the best time of the day was the first 3 seconds of the morning, because that's when your eyes open but your brain doesn't quite engage. And then after that 3 seconds, I realized that I'm laying in a bunk in a prison and I've got a long sentence to do. And so I'd be angry at myself. And then I finally got to the point that I was able to forgive myself, that I'm a human being that made mistakes. I certainly wish I hadn't, certainly wish that my life didn't go down that path, but I can't change it. It's reality, and I have to deal with it. And so from that standpoint, I think I just want to conclude by saying this, that I think that there's a box. My wife tells me that I have the capacity to silo things, that things that bother me, I can leave them in one place, and other things I can put in a different place. And I attribute a lot of that to being incarcerated. But there's a box that I have, a figurative box that I put in the corner, and that's got all the bad stuff in there. That's got the decisions that I made that I wish I could reverse. That's got the way that I felt when I had hurt the people that I care most about, my family and what have you. That's got the stuff that if I look in that box, makes me feel badly about myself. It makes me feel negative about the way that I've lived my life. And the truth of the matter is that if I keep going back and looking in that box, I'll never get past it. So I think I've done a reasonably good job of sealing that box up so I can avoid looking into it. And I instead have built a new box, and to the 10 people I think is the number that graduated. I mean, this is something I think you want to put in that new box, something that you can look in and be proud of, something you can look in and feel good about yourself, that you've gone through this, that whatever it is that brought you to this point, you've now done something that's an achievement, and it's something that I think should be a springboard to the next things that come toward you. So again, congratulations, and I wish you and the other graduates that are in the room the very best. Thank you.